What if the universe hides its newborn stars in absolute darkness so complete that their first light never reaches the eyes of any telescope looking with visible light alone? I am born as a single photon. Not a thought but a sliver of reality. Pushed out from a tiny hot place where gravity has won a private argument with cold. Around me everything is slow and heavy. The air here is not the kind you breathe, it is a soup of hydrogen molecules and microscopic dust grains, and the whole room smells of cold and time. I slip away from my birthplace with a little rush, carrying heat and the memory of being created, eager to hurry out and tell whatever watcher waits that a new star has begun to wake. For a moment I imagine myself on a clear road, a straight line toward the wide black where telescopes at the edge of a blue planet might catch me and translate me into a message that says here is a new light. But the road is not a road at all. It is a forest of dust. Each speck is a tiny trap. I meet a grain and I scatter. I meet another and I am absorbed only to be reborn later at a different wavelength. Inside this cloud the rules I knew outside change. Instead of free flight I perform a random walk. Every step is tiny and uncertain. I wander again. Each collision a small theft of time. I learn to be patient because in this place patience is the only way out. Around me molecules whisper in radio tones. Carbon monoxide hums a signature that feels like a language older than stars. Complex organic molecules hum fainter notes like background singers supporting a lonely lead. Gas density swells and drops like the slow breathing of a sleeping giant. At times I hitch a ride on an outflow, a furious jet of gas that punches a hole through the gas and dust, and for a second the path ahead opens like a throat. I surge and then the throat closes. I meet pockets of darkness so opaque that even my siblings born brighter than me vanish into silence. There is grief in this place. The light that comes from the newborn core is often swallowed and turned into warmth that the dust keeps and then re-emits as a longer, quieter breath. Those emissions are not the bright flash you imagine at a supernova. They are the slow sighs of dust warming and cooling. The newborn star tosses out jets and winds, and those are violent, beautiful things, but they too can be hidden behind curtains of material. Still life moves on. Chemistry happens. Ice mantles on grains grow. Shiver. Break. The protostar steals mass from its surroundings, and in doing so it sculpts its own shroud. Listen closely and you will hear the subtle justice of physics. Wavelength matters. The shorter the wavelength, the easier the dust is able to block you. Optical light is a delicate messenger here, it stumbles and fails. Longer wavelengths, grave and patient like radio and infrared, slip past the grains more easily. Sometimes I am converted into a longer wavelength cousin and then I can move more freely. Sometimes I ride in the company of molecules that glow where they are excited, and they carry signatures of motion and of temperature and of the hidden architecture inside the cloud. These signatures are how minds far away reconstruct a story from traces and shadows. Time begins to stretch. Years for you are exercises in routine, and for me an eternity of tiny collisions. I am delayed and delayed again. When I finally find a corridor carved by an outflow, or when the central object clears its immediate surroundings with a sudden flare, I can feel the pressure of the outside. The escape is never neat. There is a final burst of confusion. Radiation pressure and magnetic fields have their say. Streams of matter are flung out in narrow angles and they slice through the envelope, scattering and sometimes opening a funnel through which light can escape more directly. Outside the cloud the galaxy hums and listens. Giant dishes and arrays tune themselves to the radio whispers. Telescopes tuned to infrared feel the warm breath of dust. Observers translate those whispers into maps where filaments and cores appear like the bones of some living organism. They see where jets carve, where accretion is furious, where clumps will become clusters. They do not look with their eyes alone. They stack wavelengths like pages in a book. They do detective work. From my little perspective this feels miraculous and also inevitable. The universe hid its children and then learned to listen. There is a moment that counts as the climax of my journey. For me it is the instant when I pass the last dense clump. For the protostar it is the point when the accretion disk finds a new balance and an outburst clears a cavity. For the listener on a small blue planet it is the first time data arrive that can be turned into an image or a spectrum that says yes, something new is here. Instruments that observe in infrared and submillimeter bands gather the thermal glow of warmed dust and the spectral fingerprints of molecules. Arrays like those on a high plane in the Atacama catch the faint millimeter pulses and turn them into structures you can trace. Space telescopes tuned to the near and mid-infrared push their mirrors and sensors to peel back layers that visible light cannot cross. Each detection is an act of translation, a conversion of stolen and re-emitted photons into stories. Emotion is strange here. From within the cloud everything is intimate and private. The birth of a star is messy and lonely. Material falls in while jets carve out. Magnetic fields pull and twist. Occasionally two newborns form close enough to dance and their lives are forever entwined. The drama is not loud like a headline. It is the steady eloquence of processes that run long and deep. For those who listen, it becomes a kind of slow revelation. A dark cloud resolves into a nursery, a place where the secret of creation is arranged and rearranged until light can finally escape to tell the tale. At last I break through into emptier space. My journey has taught me that light takes many names. The light that escapes first may not look like the light that was born. It may be longer in wavelength and softer in tone. It may carry the scars of many encounters, yet it carries the essence of the event that created it. Far away, a team of observers notices an unusual concentration of emission. They point more instruments. Spectra arrive and reveal motion and chemical signatures and temperature gradients. A protostar is confirmed. A jet is imaged. A cavity is mapped. The hidden child is no longer entirely hidden. So what about the question I asked at the beginning about whether these newborn stars are born in darkness so complete that their first cries are invisible to ordinary eyes? The answer is yes, and also no. The universe often conceals the birth of stars from visible light, but not from every kind of light. The clouds of dust that make stars are excellent at blocking optical wavelengths, which makes the births invisible to telescopes that rely on visible light. Yet when we listen with radio and with infrared and with sub-millimeter eyes, we can hear and see the echoes. We can trace the signatures of the newborns and reconstruct the moment of birth. Observatories that operate at these wavelengths are our ears into the nursery and allow us to find and study stars in their most hidden infancy. Thank you for traveling with me through that dark cloud. If this story sparked a question or an idea, please share your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear what image or question stayed with you until the end. Goodbye, and until next time, keep looking with more than just your eyes.